for example, like if you get stunned in the silence, you're still dead because your only survivability tool is Wind Run, basically. I think it could work out quite well here for VP.
I would say the thing with the Wind Ranger pick is the physical damage coming out of VP. I guess it's for the last... I think she's just going to get magic down. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be kind of tricky for her to dodge anything with that, but...
5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Maybe one of the standing guys is super strong on Windrunner, wants to play Windrunner.
I mean, this would be Hani's hero, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm kind of
hoping
they don't support Wind Ranger. I feel like it's... Even though the Shackle is more reliable than it's ever been because the latch range had been increased, I still feel like unless you're fighting in the woods a lot, it's still very difficult to like on-demand just guarantee the Shackle.
I find Wind Ranger actually is a very decent split pusher if you level up your ultimate.
I agree. I mean, because they changed it so, I mean, if, you know, you can kind of mix it up a bit, right? As long as it's the same target, you can come back. Can you cast Focus Fire, stop, fire a...
as long as you don't manually right-click something else, your Focus Fire will stay on the target.
Reserve time.
I like to get a Yules on her and try to land the Yules into Shackle or Yules into Power Shot combo. I'm getting there. It's
Ooh, it
is
is
a
a support Wind Ranger.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think this is going to be like?
You know, when Alliance had EGM, their support Wind Ranger would get an Orc at like 18 minutes in the game.
Yeah, that is very true. But we also have to keep in mind, it could be about the wave clear more than anything else. Being able to stand that far away and still have some form of deep push. I mean, you have Death Pulse, you can use Firefly, you got Power Shot now, Gyrocopter as well. You can push out the lanes pretty good, and that kind of makes VP not able to just group up as 5 because they don't have any rat at all. Like VP are basically just straight up, we're gonna fight you, we're gonna get our blink on our cores, we're gonna DP your ulti or your towers down, and then we're gonna have some carry benefiting from this as well. And we're gonna see what it is in just a second. I think, well, I want to say Void, but I don't feel like Void is actually that great here.
It combos very nicely with your DP ult.
I think it works well with Epi. Yeah, it works well with the DP. I think Void would work pretty well.
The biggest problem with picking the Void is that you
what are they just picking my heroes for? What is up here?
Brave King's actually really excellent against this team. Pretty immune to Bat Rider, pretty immune to Necrophos.
A hero you really don't want to Reaper Scythe.
Yeah.
Unless you know that he's not coming back.
Huh.
Interesting.
Is there any possibility of Alliance running a tri-lane offensively?
I think after seeing the Wraith King, I think there is, because ideally you want to restrict Yul from being able to just free farm the woods,
Exactly,
right?
And then you have Jotum and BZZ in a lane that's not very explosive.
I think if you had the choice, you would just go like... Because Rocket Barrage does so much damage, you have maybe a reliable way to set up a Shackle, and then you have Rocket on top of that as well. So it could be a triple stun lane if you look at it that way. Like if the Fire Blast lines at the Shackle and there's a Rocket on the hero, they're going to be stunned for an extremely long time.
Prepare for battle.
Looks like it's not going to be the case. So the one thing I do want to point out is Ace is going up top. We haven't been introducing the players, shall we? Let's introduce. Ace is playing the Bat Rider. My nuts on the Ogre match again. We have Ake going on bottom lane with Boots first, Wind Ranger. That's very interesting. Loda playing the Gyrocopter. And I should be following Wupas's camera. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And then we have Hani playing the Necrophos.
Yeah, on the side of VP, we got Sadoy playing the Watermelon, Tidehunter. Got G, going to be going mid on the Death Prophet. Yol playing Sand King. BZZ playing the Wraith King. And then Shotum playing on Dazzle. So when Wraith King and Sand King are on the same team, is Wraith King still the only king that matters?
That's a tough one, Andy.
I don't actually know.
I think Wraith King is...
That's like asking if a tree falls in the woods, does it still make a sound? No one's around to hear it.
It does. It technically does. So Bat Rider, sometimes he goes Boots first in the off lane. In this case, he's went double Ring of Protection, possibly against 2.5 stun. I want to call, you know, the Poison Touch not really stun. Why would you go double Ring of Protection in this case and not Boots, for example?
If he's going to be doing jungle stuff, would that help?
Well, I mean, I think the damage is, like, the damage reduction is still more than enough.
Oh, they might churn on Ace.
It's double damage.
That 8 armor really will come in handy right now.
Yeah, but I think he's still dead.
Yeah, he is super dead.
Okay.
Yo, that is what you want as the Sand King. You're like, sweet, first blood, and I can go muss around in the jungle now, do my thing.
He just needs to make sure that he's very diligent about getting his level 3.
Check out that Necro set. Oh!
Yeah. You haven't seen that before?
No, I like that. I like that a lot.
It is pretty neat.
That is nice. I love that head.
I'm personally not a big fan of Necro on the mid lane, because I feel like a big part of his harassing power, like Heartstop Aura, gets very negated by Bottle Regen on the mid lane. So, I think
yeah, but you could also argue the counterpoint of like the Bottle Regen gets countered by Necro Aura. Like,
well,
I get where you're coming from, is that if you continually are able to get runes, that the bottle will kind of offset the fact that you're just constantly being degened.
Yep.
But at the same time, I still feel like his lane presence is strong. There's not really a whole lot of opportunities for roam because we actually see my nuts up here, you know, keeping things on lockdown.
Yeah.
Making sure that Yule's not going to be getting much.
He only got 43 XP, like that's it.
It's a level 1 hero.
Yeah,
split
shared
3
between
ways.
3, but they're going to try to go for a second kill. No double damage here. Burrow Strike's going to come through. Nice stun forming on the outside of Ace, and Ace is there.
That's nice. That's a strong combo.
Yeah, the major thing is you want to get the Sand King to level 3 as soon as possible if you're VP. So I think he's probably going to be the one to just go to the pull. Maybe he pre-runes, make sure that he gets the bounty if it spawns. And once he gets 3, it's like 5 minutes to blink dagger. You know?
It should be. I'm going to see where he stands when he does the Sandstorm, because I have suffered greatly from getting in position, just like the creeps just run away, and people say, no, you got to stand in the right spot. So I want to see what the right spot is to stand when you're sandstorming the creeps in the jungle.
You basically want to stand, you know how all the camps have like that rocky outline up top lane? BZZ, 6 stacked here.
Nice.
And the sticky napalm, he's actually going to be dropping there to my nuts.
They really needed that, and good to know that Sand King's away, so they punish it immediately.
Yeah.
You want to stand outside the ring.
Outside the ring.
Yeah. So like maybe just like
Sandstorm radius is actually massive.
Yeah, it is,
So
yeah. So you want it so that the sandstorm basically covers the camp and then where they run to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because I've been running right in there like an idiot.
Yeah, if you run in where they're actually sitting, half the time your Sandstorm won't deal damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Top lane is getting a ton of experience by contesting this.
Yeah, it's going to be actually kind of hard for the Sand King to just totally uncontested hit level 3. He's still level 1 at 3 minutes in. Now, granted, that's like 1 CS of experience. He's in a tri lane. He hasn't really been prioritizing himself at all. He's even allowing Jotum to be the one contesting the pole, which I think is fair because Jotum is actually level 3 himself, and he's a ranged hero, and he's got 10 sig charges, so it's not really as dangerous for him to go over there as it would be real in this case. But with a death on BZZ so early, I kind of feel like VP are still sacrificing a little bit. Even though they ended up getting that first blood on the Sand King, it's like it doesn't matter if it doesn't transition into levels. But they're going to get a Burrow Strike here on Hani. He's got enough mana for that level 2 Crypt Swarm. Right in the face.
Yep.
Apparently ghosts can still kill other ghosts.
Incredible.
Or is Necrophos actually a ghost?
I don't know if he's undead or if he's a ghost. I mean, there is a difference.
Yeah, there is actually.
He's very alive.
Oh, BZZ. He's got 3 stacks on him right now.
Yeah.
Jotum's here trying to back him up. Poison Touch onto Ace. Firefly still going through the Wraith Fire Blast and Ignite. The Grave very nicely timed here, but I don't really think it's going to be
Got 10
enough.
stacks.
One more punch.
Use it.
Oh, it's a stick.
Okay, he can
another
bottle
stun.
regen. The stun's gonna come through. Ignite's not gonna kill him first. He gets the experience,
the heal.
gets healed, and more heal are coming soon.
Oh, wow.
And survives. He even popped himself somewhere in between.
I'm not
My
kidding.
God.
Dazzle, best lane partner. Like, he just won him there.
But-
him and Omni.
Just have the, like, he was so low, and I'm not sure if it's Jotum that said, all right, don't use your magic wand yet. I'm gonna grave you.
Yeah.
And the trust, man, the trust.
Really nice.
That was actually pretty crazy. I mean, I wish my Dazzle's graved like that, you know? Like, graved when you're at like 5% HP as opposed to 50.
You know that's a level 1 grave. I'm like, how is he even in range?
Well, it's pretty obvious that they're going to focus on that guy with 3 stacks and napalm. It's easy to be in range when the only stun is a targeted stun, and you don't have to walk in Firefly. Like,
True.
I think level 1 Grave is what, 550 range? Something like that?
It's like 400, I think.
Nah, it's 550.
Okay.
They buffed it.
Get wrecked.
Yeah.
It just feels so short.
Yeah, well, it's shorter than his auto attack. That's why it feels short, because you actually have to run up to be able to use it if it's level 1. The acquisition range is too great on Dazzle.
Nope, mid lane here, Ake coming in.
Oh, Ace, he wants this so bad.
Actually, can we get a return kill? Power shot level 2. Couple more hits and a good one.
Nice dodge.
Jukes.
That's a nice dodge. But
Meanwhile, the camera literally not looking at what you were talking about, just looking at the
was it
stats.
not? Oh, damn.
Nah, it's okay. Yeah.
It's
That's
looking
alright,
in
we're
this
first carry on.
jungle steel farm, but most of it went to Yo, so it's decent.
Actually, I don't think any of it went to the Bat Rider at all.
Came in a little bit too early.
Yeah. Okay though. He knew what he wanted. I mean, the real bummer, honestly, is like ASUS died 3 times. To be fair though, for him, he's a Bat Rider, so if any of his supports or anyone really is stacking the jungle for him, he'll be able to go back, get his Blink Dagger, no issue, and then he'll be good to go, basically. So
Even though he's died a couple of times on the top lane, I actually think what they've done is really important. They've slowed down BZZ's farm significantly. And when your Wraith King doesn't get a quick blink, it's really hard for him to first catch up and secondly be part of the fights. Like you generally want him in the center. So even though Bat Rider is 0-3, I think that is still better than the 0-1 under farm Wraith King.
yeah, I guess I see your point there.
I mean, definitely you don't want that.
Gracefully conceded, Andy.
Yep.
I guess you could be right. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Once today.
No, I'm just like, I've been in one of those zones. Oh, G, wow.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
that's-
Reaper Scythe. He gets power shot here. G going for the return
Pretty
kill. He's got a
early.
Grip Swarm. Ani gonna end up dropping here. Jadam in the meantime picks up a kill on my nuts, and Ace is going to manage to kill G with the help of the Firefly. So, all things considered, and this is also Yol being very close to Blink, by the way. We just saw a sneak peek. He's got 1,700 gold on him right now. VP have a 4-kill advantage. They're going to have a Blink Sand King at around 9 minutes, which is pretty normal timing. Honestly, I think it would have been faster if he was able to soak the pulls, but he prioritized Jadam getting the experience over him, and that just set him back a bit. And I think maybe they just decided that on the fly because he got first blood. It's like, okay, I'm going to take the pulls because you got first blood. Make things a little bit more even. But yeah, game's going to be on Yul here soon, and he's already been involved in more than half of his team's kills. Jadam, not enough mana for a poison touch here.
Can you imagine trying to make that case in a pub game?
Well, I got first blood, so you can have the pull.
Yeah, I think that would be the most noble gesture in gaming history.
I had a really nice team like the other day.
Was that when you were screaming, "I need help"?
No, that was sub day. That's every sub day.
That'll happen, right?
That's like you have to micromanage and remind people that you're on the team. It's like, please stop farming the woods. Help me, I'm dying.
I play sub in houses when I play sub. I mean, it's like I tend to just play with viewers and stuff, and
I did
it's
that.
a real pop luck kind of thing. Sometimes we'll just click and it'll be awesome, and sometimes it's just the worst game. The worst game.
If you do sub games, at least for me, it turns into 5 versus 5 mid at like 3 minutes. So that's why I stopped doing it.
Yeah.
If I want to play all mid, I'll play all mid. My nut's in some trouble though. Gonna stun out onto BZZ. He's actually running into the tower here. He's quite durable.
Yeah,
He's
fine.
very strong.
Jeez.
I think that's
armor.
one of the biggest things about Ogre McGee. I mean, he is great, but you know, he's got great spells, but he's also really hard to kill.
Yeah.
I mean, Crystal Maiden, for instance, would have got exploded there.
Yeah, that's very true. And the thing is, Ignite range is actually insane.
Yeah.
Like, you can Ignite from about Frost Nova range, or Ice Nova, if we're talking like directly comparing heroes or something like that. Sidoi, gonna be eating a full Rocket Barrage here in bottom lane.
He's got mana, so they got to play this cautious.
But I like the fact that Loda has actually opted for the max rocket build.
It's so good.
Tide
It's
actually does
the worst.
nothing against this.
Yeah,
Like, Tide
it's the
cannot do
worst.
anything in this lane.
Just continual rocket. He could. No, he can't chase him.
The other thing is, too, is because VP are actually really focused on their
he
side
got
of
a
the map.
solo kill.
Wow, he killed him with the rocket. The rocket actually killed him. That's what is
crazy.
it, 550 damage or like 500
I
minimum?
think yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, 500 damage.
Well, it's how he plays it too. Like Loda would drop the rocket and just run menacingly to Tide.
Yeah.
And he just kind of force it back.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's how you did it even before they buffed rocket.
Yeah.
It's like if they stay to try to hit the rocket before it gets to you, you get rocket barraged.
Yep.
And if they run, they eat the rocket. So either way, you're kind of screwed. And this is really good though for Alliance because they needed something that was drawing the attention of VP. Now that likely means that Hani is going to continue to be camped more or less because it's a really easy kill on the Necrolite as opposed to trying to go to the safe lane and gank a hero who at some point is going to get like a pretty early-ish BKB, I would say, probably like 13, 14 minutes if he continues this level of farm. And it also means that like no one on the side of Alliance has to babysit Loda right now. until they start seeing that dagger come out. So.
Yep. I was wondering where the first gank's gonna come, but Yo looks to the bottom lane.
Midas now on Wraith King, by the way. Just got the recipe.
Do you think this is the right gank target? And it looks like they're ready for it. Ake has laid a very deep ward. They see Yo, they see his blink. They're fine. Unfortunate.
Hellfire
In fact,
Blast
the
on my
TP's
nuts.
up top.
Oh, the blink's out. They're going to get a nice burrow start kind of loaded here. X is going to be popped as well. G in the back going for my nuts. Should be able to kill him. In the meantime, Call Down's going to land a slow onto another Hellfire Blast comes out. That weave, though. Holy moly. Even the right clicks of G were doing a tremendous amount of damage there. And
Dang.
they end up trading a 2 for 1. And all they got was a support.
Yep. VP did that well, I think.
Well, they put Ake in bottom lane because they want him to level, right? Like, this
Yeah.
is supposed to be an EGM-style windrunner that usually gets a really good amount of farm. And I think it's okay to just have, like, the gyrocopter farming as opposed to putting him in precarious situations where you know that the blink timing was going to be soon-ish. Like, average time for Boots blink and pro games is 9 to 10 minutes, and they ganked at that time, which is super risky.
I mean, Windrunner hasn't got much. Like, at 12 minutes to just have Boots, it is kind of... I mean, it's... What are they going to do? Let her go farm by herself for 10 minutes?
That's kind of what she's doing, at least for the past 2-3 minutes.
I don't think they can do that now.
Oh, PZZ. Living life on the edge there. It's a Shadow Wave, so he'll be fine.
He has 2 lives. And friends.
Yeah. I think it's a nice idea of having these like self-sufficient carries who don't really need babysitting and then giving up the lane to somebody else.
Yeah,
But I'm
that's
wondering
nice.
if Wind Ranger is going to have the kind of impact that you would want to actually give farm to.
Yeah.
You know, like you still got to line shackles, still got to be in the right spot at the right time.
Okay, imagine that, like, the extra farm. Oh, actually, he's going to find a
Sidoi.
kill here. I think
Maybe.
Power Shot's going to miss.
Missed the shackle.
Never mind, have to win run and back off. G giving a little bit of chase. Actually, can he just run him down? He's got face boots.
Well, he is running at him. Ake still got a DD.
Rocket.
One more Crypt Swarm.
G in trouble. This is going to be a very, very long-range rocket.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he
he's
could
gonna
run
be
behind
way
the
too
tower.
far away.
Yeah. It's going to take a ton of damage. Loda wants to get a second rocket onto. It's going to be the max damage rocket.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Boom.
attack.
375.
Ancients are stacked ones. Bit of inside information just there,
Radiant's top tower
I like how
is
you just
under
suddenly
attack.
started whispering.
just in case.
But we're not wearing like giant headsets, so
Yeah.
Dire's
pretty easy
bottom
for us to hear
tower
them.
is under attack.
It is actually, it is strange to have the players in the same room. Like, I don't think I've done this before.
No, I
Obviously,
haven't.
I've cast with players next to us, and I've cast tourney where the players can hear everything we say, and we have to say, we won't say anything about that, you know, because there's a roche happening or somebody's purchased an unusual item or something. That's really tough. But to have them right here in the room with us is, it's unusual, I would say.
It's cool though, because
It
you
is
get to hear some of the calls they get to make in game, and you get
Exactly.
to say like, oh, so that's what their thought process was when they did this.
And we can actually hear them because you don't have people in the background, and you know, there's no feedback. We can't hear the game other than in one of our ears. So
Right.
yeah, it's interesting.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So Honey's still kind of farming away here. I mean, he was mid. He's got the 4th highest farm, 2nd highest farm on the team. I'm wondering what he's actually going to decide to go first. Like, he's opted completely out of Heartstopper. He's just gone for the I'm going to farm in the woods with Sadist. And off-map farming is still pretty solid. Can be a bit dangerous against Blink Initiators. And speaking of initiation, here comes the Sanking.
The epicenter!
The lasso, the burrow strike in. They want to try to kill Ace here. G not able to get any follow-up damage, and Yul just ends up being a sacrifice for the greater good.
Yeah,
And he tanked the gank.
Yeah, more importantly, the Reaper Scythe didn't do anything there.
Yeah,
Like,
nothing.
if it was Sanking getting Reaper Scythed, man, the seconds.
A 50-second death timer on a support at 14 minutes.
Yeah.
That is actually like the single most frustrating thing to have happened to you in pub games now. It's like no longer about getting sphered, it's, oh god, I got Reaper Scythe.
Yeah.
I'm dead for an hour.
Yeah. I do think Sanking's great at that. He can initiate and he can also counter-initiate. If you can get a good epi, everyone's focusing, especially if something like Batrider, everybody kind of tends to pile around the lassoed target.
Yeah.
You can get in there with a really nice epicenter, mix it up. Then you've got Ravage over the top of that. It's very strong.
Oh, BZZ going hand
This
here on my nuts.
king does not give a flying flip. He's going to go punch him down.
Yeah.
Come here, Ogolang. Go! Yeah. Death Prophet stole it. Thief.
Ah, it's fine.
No, it's
They're
not.
both
He's
undead
the king.
allies. She could be the queen.
Eh.
of ghosts.
Of
Spooky
ghosts.
ghosts.
Spookiness, yeah.
Radiant's middle tower has
When I
been
watch
denied.
G play, he generally finds very good farm, but one thing he's really good at is like roaming behind towers and then popping out and getting kills. We saw him doing just that against Minuts. And then earlier he was like roaming over here behind a secret shop trying to pick off like a straggling support. I think it was also the Ogre. So I don't know how he does it in terms of, and earlier, remember in the jungle, down the river, picked up the Wind Ranger, or trying to. So
Yeah,
he's really effective at like just roaming around and farming really well. To
Well,
get
now
these
look
kills.
how quick he is.
Yeah.
So I think if he can now, the speed that he can roam now is so crazy. He can get into those positions.
When he faces, he's at max movement speed.
Yeah.
Or one shy of it.
So he can zip out of the woods, yule somebody,
Yeah.
and then just go ham on him.
My concern right now for Alliance is just they've lost their tier 1 mid, which is a pretty important tower. And VP are kind of just content to just sit back and farm. I think that because Lotus going first side in BKB, he'll be able to stand like front line, do a decent amount of damage. I'm just concerned if his damage is going to be high enough at an early stage in the game where VP aren't going to repeat the same thing that they did in game number 1, which is get so much map control taken away from Alliance that their only other option really is base defense, like high ground. And then all of a sudden VP just choke you out with like 6-slotted Wraith King, Death Prophet. Dazzle becomes really strong at that point in the game because Weave is such a massive amount of minus armor. They're going on top here though. Call down, gonna be dropped. BZZ walks right into it and gets shackled to the range speed from Ake. Very nicely done. Brave was there as well. Jadam though gonna pay with his life here, eats a power shot to the face. Ake gets the kill. He gets an epi. Burrow strike on 2. Loda actually gonna be dropping here along with my nuts and Ake. It's a double for Yol. BZZ picks up the kill on my nuts. Now Yol 2-stack is sticking napalm. He's got another blink and a burrow. I think he's a little bit too far away. Nope, he actually decides to go in. G's behind the tower.
I don't know if he knew that tower was still up.
Yeah.
There's that roam from G.
Radiant's top
That's
tower
gonna be
is
kill.
under
Yep.
attack.
And then Crypt Swarm.
Radiant's top tower has
Nice.
fallen.
That was exactly what you were talking about, Louis.
She's
I
always
can't
there.
believe it.
What do you mean? Oh, Ted. Alright. Here's the item coming. Is that the blink from the Raven King? Yes, it is. So now I think if you're Alliance, you're going to have been in a very tough position fighting this. Hani's been farming for a long time. Straight Mystic Staff. Shiva's guard?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I don't think Shiva's really gives you much here. I mean, really, what do you need armor for?
Chase him down.
You're gonna get a Hellfire Blast to the face.
It's-
You're gonna
it's
get
more
Tide
like-
Ravage,
He's
Epicenter.
tanking up though a little bit, I guess.
I think it's more for like, if you ever survive just a pure chain stun, you could basically walk out of there.
I don't really think you're walking away from VP's team.
If you're gonna chase somebody down with the Heartstopper, you could slow him with Shivas a little.
I think he might just rush Hex, which is interesting, but Hex
Oh.
is pretty much always good.
Right, but it's interesting that he opened up with that piece, because I think you will want as much health as you could get.
Yeah, he
Well-
only has 1,000.
There's also the argument of saying, like, since we're doing so poorly, I don't know if I'll ever get to 2,700 gold again.
You can just spend
I
all
need
the-
to buy the
he's getting
most
Shivas.
expensive. Wow,
Plate
it really
mill.
is buying Shivas. It's so strange. I guess it's okay in the sense that, like, a lot of the heroes on VP, if you can break their blinks and continue to chase, you can clean up a lot of kills. And maybe he's banking on the fact that the Shiva's bonus damage with Reaper Scythe is also going to be strong. Top lane, going to see a gush into a stun here on the Ogre, and he's going to try to TP away,
Brave.
Not gonna.
but
I
not
would say brave.
optimistic.
By the way, if you're ever playing Necrophos with treads, do tread toggle like Hani. Use Death Pulse on int, and when you're regenning status, put on Strength for
That's
Agility.
nice.
It's just like he's
Yeah,
constantly
it's
full
flat
mana.
regen, so
It
it's
is
still
full
really
mana.
nice to do. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but it's still a good habit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to knock somebody for having good mechanical habits. It's still
Gee.
always good.
He is.
Oh, the Yules. And too quick.
And walk.
And
Burrow.
in, straight into Burrow.
Yeah, I think they need to get out though here, because here comes Ace. Or maybe not. The lasso initiation's gonna go right on G. They just don't have any burst trying to drag him on the high ground. In fact, it's gonna be G chasing. Does he want to come with Exorcism? No, they'll back off. Actually, with lasso
get
down,
Roche.
you can get Roche. Yeah.
Yeah. Pop the ult. You got Epicenter, I think, is up on Sand King.
Yep. And I get Ravage as
You
well.
go Ravage too. You get. Would you ever go into this fight in a million billion years?
No,
I don't think so.
Pretty much not, yeah. Everyone on the side of Alliance
You know,
just said,
Sadoy
"We're
has
out."
been fairly silent this game on his Tie Hunter, but he didn't really need to do much.
Oh, this is nice. So I guess if you think they might contest it, you come around the back. And if you find someone who's thinking, oh, I'll go farm while they're doing that, you might catch them out. I wonder if they can here. If they can get Hani here, that would be
Well, Hani doesn't have a lot of health.
Random sandstorm there.
Ravage is going to come down. They definitely get Hani. The question is how much more they're going to get. They're going to drop Reaper Side, not for not much damage. Sadoi is going to get bursted down. Yo, a lot of trouble. BKB protecting Loda for a little bit more. Jotham's going to pop a grave on Yo. Burrow Strike to the right side. Here comes BZZ. He's initiating on Nuts. Nuts taking a couple crits. And, well, not really doing too
Coming
much.
around the back, though.
Where is G? G needs to be here.
G's here. Got the Yules.
Yep. Picks one up in the air, and that should be probably the kill that they're getting.
She got the win run off. I think. Maybe not. I guess not. Spanked by Wraith King.
That's a pretty costly fight for Alliance because they pop a 10-second BKB. And they only got a tie out of it. And they're probably not going to be able to defend a tier 2.
Yeah, I think Fault Yule's here onto an illusion. They'll find that out pretty soon. But the Alliance right now, like, they're in this position where if they make it to the late game, they might have a pretty good chance. Ace is going to find Yule Sandstorm next to the tower here. Should be dead.
Oh,
4 cents away to
God.
grave. Oh man, if they don't kill him, that would be absolutely horrible.
He lives. He's a liver.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I was going to say, that would have been a little bit of like a gimme and something that's very necessary for them at this point because they need levels and gold on pretty much every one of their heroes. Like, Ogre and Wind Ranger are the two, like, bottom net worth heroes, right? And the majority of the net worth on the side of VP are exactly on the heroes that you wanted on, the Wraith King and the Death Prophet. So both of them, like G with the BKB now, Blink, Midas, and more on BZZ.
So would you say the turning point of the entire game so far was earlier when the lasso was used in the Roshan pit game? Or do you feel like Alliance has already been falling somewhat behind?
I feel like Alliance were going into this game knowing they were going to make the sacrifice of y'all having a very easy game. Like, they saw the Sand King, and the Sand King was picked into a team where they had already seen an Ogre Magi, but they hadn't seen the secondary support, I don't believe, because Wind Ranger was picked 4th, right?
Yes.
So in that sense, I think that VP just had a little bit of a better plan as to what their supports could accomplish, because having Blink Burrow Strike, Blink Ravage, Blink Wraith King, like triple Blink against the Batrider, it is still extremely scary to try to initiate with that combo. And I do like the fact that Alliance took the Batrider away from VP because they used it well, but Alliance can't maintain any semblance of vision, nor are they trying to fight anything right now because they know that Gyrocopter needs more farm.
And unfortunately, I don't think, like last game, they could really burst down G at this point. Got BKB first instead of the Heart first. Ravage gets nothing.
Wow. The blink got cancelled, I think.
Well, but, you know, Loda's really, really low. BZ stand in front line. That's a two-man shackle. But again, do you want to go on BZZ on the front? The Grave's going to come out here. They're going to pull G back. That's a Reaper side target, but unfortunately, Hani cannot get it off. Hani getting bursted down by Yo. My goodness, this tanking has been used so much work. BZZ blinks back in. He wants Ace. Another two-man shackle. Really, really good defensive capability from Alliance, but it's just not enough damage output from the rest of the team. They chase everybody away. That's a multicast on Jotham. Jotham probably going to get picked off, and they defend their racks.
Wow.
Did anybody buy back?
It's 4 step forward. Sidori's got a blink. All right. Should be the end, I think. Unless he really wants to chase that rocket. He needs to be aware of how far away he is, though. He's going to actually pop the smoke here, but it doesn't actually stop the stun anymore. It used to, but no longer. My Nuts gets silenced, though. Faded out.
Oh.
Going to be chopped down.
My Nuts got silenced.
It's true.
I've stopped laughing at these My Nuts jokes. They're beneath me now.
Okay,
I've moved on.
We will move on.
You'd have to find a really good one, and then
We've got some pretty good character development here on DreamLeague today. I like it. 10 out of 10.
It feels like all of these games, all being 2 of them, Alliance is always very close of making a comeback. And I think this might be just a game.
I think this one was not 100% of a draft issue, but it was definitely something that I think may have put them at an innate disadvantage. Like, you have a Wind Ranger support and an Ogre.
Yeah.
Like, what is that supposed to gank for? Like, what does it accomplish in the early game? You're supposed to maybe kill the DP. We saw last game that can actually happen. There was an Invis and an Ogre who ended up getting a kill on the DP. But you were ganking for, I think, an Invoker that game.
Yep.
And that's much easier hero to kill for. Necro has no disable. So maybe the Necro going mid was something that they decided kind of last second.
Well, he does. I mean, with his ult, but...
Well, he can, but it's like you have to basically go in, you have to smoke, and you have to go for like the mass stun into Reaper's Scythe to get the kill. And then once that's done, it's like, okay, you don't have any follow-up gank. Like, you're relying on the Reaper Scythe ulti to get a kill.
I do think that whole fight would have gone differently if the Ravage had gone off rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
if his
If it
blink
hit
was
Loda before his
cancelled.
BKB, yeah.
I mean, that could probably just be GG if the Ravage hit like at least 2-3. But I mean, if you look at the teamfight contribution from the Wind Ranger, like apart from like a Sand King that lands 2 3-man Burrow Strike, that case influenced that
double
fight.
shackles,
Yeah,
but-
2
yeah.
double shackles. That
Really
was
good.
huge. And he has a mech now. So here we go. But looks
There's
like
the back.
they're going to focus on G. Can they actually burst him down? That's the question. G taking a ton. They do burst him down. Ace taking a ton of damage. And you can see that Loda is the biggest man in the middle of the fight, killing just about everybody. Yo, Epicenter not doing too much. Here comes the multicast. They get 1 kill, and they're chasing for more. They only lost a range rack so far. Rocket on BZZ. He will have Blink. Or will he? His Blink's constantly getting cancelled. No, he blinks back out. Jotum now becomes a target. Can they run him down? The Ignite's going to be there. The Fire Blast should actually take him down as well. He could Grave and delay this kill much, much longer.
I think they should just run right past him. But yeah, that's what they're going to do.
Doing, yeah.
They can go back and get him in a minute. Kill the Skeleton King.
That's a great
big.
comeback. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually huge because the later the game goes, Gyro is one of those heroes whose AoE damage output is completely insane. Look at that, 4,000 gold,
XP 8,600. Are you kidding me?
almost over 9,000.
That's crazy.
So close. But those types of fights are massive, and I think that comes into play like where the Shivas is actually a worthwhile investment because even though the nuke itself isn't a ton, it doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to get them below 50%.
Yeah.
And then it just guarantees that during the Reaper Scythe,
Also,
it's gonna
if
be
you
dead.
start to turn it around against a team that's like ahead, let's say the fight starts to go wrong, they might have the option to disengage. Shivas might give you that difference to
Yeah.
catch somebody with the slow, just that kind of thing. If you know you're going to be chasing people down.
Yeah. I guess if your transition is to go straight BKB or into an Aghanim or something like that, your effective HP is going to be quite high. And yeah, BKB is the choice here from Hani. So he's now actually way more tanky. It's one thing to have a Shivas when you have 1,000 HP against a team with an Epicenter and a Ravage and all sorts of things like that. But once you have a BKB to partner with, suddenly the item progression starts to be a lot better. So for Hani now, like that last team fight, pretty much giving him, I would say, darn near half of a BKB.
But this Wraith King, man, he's starting to do the punching. Look at this.
Yeah.
Got that Mjolnir, Blink Mjolnir. This is my kind of build, baby.
Is he doing damage quickly enough, though, it feels like? Because this team just basically goes in and commit because they have to. The Bat Rider is going to find one.
Yeah.
And I don't think he could punch people fast enough
Who,
before he
Wraith
team dies.
King?
Yeah, the Wraith King. If he could stick on a target and just punch non-stop, yes.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, you've got the Ravage, you've got the Epi, and if he can get shallow graved or whatever, you know, he can do enough. I do think he can do enough to make a big old difference in the fight. You know he's going to come back too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think his influence is something that I would really question. Like, if the fight goes well, and you get a good weave, your auto attacks, like, I mean, main thing he's there for is the stun, absorbing damage, having things like Blade Mail or Mjolnir. He opted to go for the Mjolnir path. Makes it so when the other team focuses you, you actually just deal damage to them.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily about how hard the Wraith King hits, it's how much damage does he absorb. Does he do enough damage to get the kill at this stage? I would say yes.
Okay, I guess my point is more of the fight is not dictated by BZZ. It's a Bat Rider initiation on Alliance, and then it's VP getting a Ravage or Epicenter off. So, I mean, BZZ just need to be there and punching. He's not going to be there to initiate, right? I guess he can.
Well, he can initiate because he has a Sand King and a Tidehunter to back him up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You don't want to have to be a Sand King going into a team that has Death Pulse, which hits Sandstorm, Ashivas that also hits Sandstorm. Then you have Firefly as well, Power Shots, Call Down. There's actually a lot on the side of Alliance that can just straight up punish y'all. So I don't think he can actually go in unless he's getting an Epi off. There are some cases where you're going for like a pick off and you know it's just one hero, then it's fine. But if you're just waiting for a head-on engagement, I think honestly BZZ initiating if he can might be the best choice.
Yeah, he's going to get a free tower now, very close to that BKB, and I imagine with the BKB they're going to take a crack at the base again. How much does the BKB change on Wraith King? And it feels like a lot of times you just want to face tank all those nukes, but you want to keep on punching, I guess.
Yeah, I think the damage output for him is actually a little bit necessary right now. They're maybe a tiny bit too reliant on Exorcism and the Sand King ulti for damage dealing purposes, and they want to be sure that BZ has full damage uptime. Like if there's a good Ravage or if there's a good Burrow, like he needs to be hitting stuff.
Yeah, they're going to try to take the stack. This could be a big win.
I think as long as you build the right kind of team around him, that him dying, like let's say he goes in first and dies, and you know he's coming back, as long as he's got follow-up, like the Exorcism and the Death Prophet, so then they have someone else to focus. Ravage, Epicenter, and Burrow Strike and stuff, not to mention Shallow Grave. I think he's, like Andy said, he's better off getting damage, just punch, punch, punch. He regens a lot of health that way anyway.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
G gets found. The question is, can they Reaper Scythe him? They do, and they don't get the kill off of it, though. Hani pops a BKB, pops a Shiva, BZC dead for the first time.
Wow.
Do they want to get a little bit greedy and go from the second time? BZC's giving chase. Force Staff brings the Ogre back out. Force Staff Burrow Strike coming out from Ake, but they can't engage. Looks like they bait out the ultimate. Buyback coming out from Death Prophet as well. They really need to get something big out of this. They pick off the Ogre. Is Roshan back? Yes. I guess you just take Aegis for free, right? You don't even need Exorcism.
He bought back for Roshan. He has Exorcism up still.
I don't think you need to use it.
They didn't use Tide Ravage or Epicenter, so the buyback is definitely worth it. Even being down one hero, like Alliance used everything there. Lasso, Call Down. I mean, Call Down's not a huge ulti, but it's definitely something, and then Reaper Scythe as well. So they don't have any tools at their disposal, and one of the biggest cores on VP, if not the biggest, is alive. So definitely a worthwhile buyback because they want to go high ground. Like, this is the point in the game where I feel like VP, if they get like one good fight, it's easy racks, maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you're Virtus.Pro, you push down mid, get the tier 2, and have that open into bottom tower for you? Is that how you push?
If you go for the tier 2 first, it's a safe option. Like, I don't think Alliance would even try to defend a tier 2 at this point.
Yeah, I think you get it for free.
Yeah, if they sacrifice it, then you obviously always go for the cleanup first. There's no reason to put yourself in harm's way and then have that tower up later when you're trying to push in lanes, because that's actually super annoying heading tier 2.
If you're Bat Rider here, you want to grab the right person, right? Are you grabbing G and hoping you can just do enough to get rid of him in a fight? Aegis aside.
Well, the thing is, if Exorcism is used and then it goes down, I still think it's worth lassoing. Because if you get the kill and the Exorcism damage is down, if he revives, I mean, he doesn't even have a Shivas. He's just got tank items, basically. So I don't think he would be that big of a threat. But here we go. Lasso, it's going to be on G. He has not popped his ulti yet. Ravage going to hit on 3 here on the side of Alliance, and they're going to be dropping here quite quickly. Hani force stop on his BKB. Grave onto G. Still alive for the time being. It's actually going to let him get into a much better position for when he actually reincarnates. The rest of his team is going to be nearby. Yul still has his ulti. Ravage was used.
You know, if they kill G here, he's dead for like 2.5 minutes or something.
Well, they don't have much left, right? They don't. Did Razer call them? Oh, Yus is going to actually disjoin 2 stun. He will
no, the rocket.
But there's no more racks left, so they set out what they accomplished. In fact, they're going to use the rest of the Exorcism and go mid straight up.
Just like you said, Andy, next fight could be 2 racks.
Yep, could be. Well, I mean, it was a good target to go on, but it was the worst time to go because you want to wait for them to fully commit to the push, and if you lasso before Exorcism and G has Aegis, then you've basically wasted your only tool for winning a fight. I mean, Bat Rider is supposed to be one of the de facto high ground defenders for the sole purpose of pulling heroes so far away that they can't help. And even if they do have an Aegis, things like Razer, Eye of the Storm, Exorcism, anything that persists with you for long periods of time, it doesn't work anymore. So you go in and it's like, well, he didn't use his ult at all, so when he's alive, he's gonna have it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, we no longer have our train of initiation that we wanted.
What's the difference maker here for Alliance? Is it just more damage on Loda? He's closing in on a Butterfly.
I mean, the difference maker is just, during the beginning of the game, even going back to like the laning phase, you left a Sand King totally unaddressed for pretty much the whole game. He had Blink Burrow at like, what, like level 5, 6, 7, something like that, at, I want to say 11 minutes, maybe
11.
10?
Yeah, there was 11.
So that's one thing that is really hard to deal with. Like, sure, Ake has managed to recover a pretty decent amount in this farm, but he's still behind what Yul has, and he's got 4-staff mech. Now, mech and 4-staff are still very strong items, but you don't really feel the Wind Ranger is having an impact, whereas a Blink Burrow Epi is still terrifying to the side of Alliance. So, well, we're going to find a lasso here. Yul getting caught out. The Reaper Scythe is there. Wow, nice Grave. He's not going to be spending extra time dead. Force the
buddy, you got to be kidding me.
Wow. Can they get more off of this? Jotham's going to get 1 stunned on. They don't have Flame Break just yet. Hani blinks in. They're going to get a secondary kill. I mean, how confident do they feel about chasing more? Yul Scepter's going to bring... But they are going to chase more. Buyback from Sand King, buyback from Jotham. They're going to come right in. How much can they get? Ace going to get 4-staff out on one side. It looks like everybody's going to blink back out.
I had a Ravage. Yep. Okay. They got Batman. I mean, here's another stun. Ogre McGee gets one off. Silenced. Punched. So now, 55 seconds with no Ogre, 40 seconds with no Bat. This should be a mid-rax, right?
They can definitely push down the lane. The tier 3 is still alive.
They got Exorcism.
And there's a decent amount of counter push. I think it could be a Rax. Gonna be kind of close though. Question is, only one of them has buyback, and it's the bat.
Can Loda ever walk in and just use his flat cannon just for creeps? No, right? He has to just commit that for fight.
Yeah,
so he's not really
can't
defending.
flag to clear the wave.
Yeah, so either it's just Windrunner defending against the world, because I don't think Hani could get close enough either.
Yeah, probably not at this point.
Oh,
Call down's going to be used. Hits on a few. Blink.
Loda
He
cannot.
Loda before BKB just gets obliterated. Buys back into the game straight away. Shackle, not going to latch. Are they actually going to be able to defend this? That's the big question.
Yeah.
Do every scythe back up? They're going to go for a lasso on G. Exorcism is actually out this time. The question is, can they burst him down? They throw out a scythe. It's actually not going to be enough. Kills a Tide Hunter.
Boy.
And I mean, this is not looking too good for Alliance. They're forced to buy back again, this time on Hani. BZZ and the rest of his team on the way out of the base.
Jeez, Death Prophet just runs out
So quick.
having napalm stacks. It doesn't matter. Right now, Ace is giving Chase. Gonna have blink off in about 3 seconds. Shackle.
Oh, yep, doesn't latch.
It doesn't matter if they keep stacking napalm though. They're eventually going to have to address this. VP coming in from the high ground here. It could be the Regoose of Regooses. Ake is totally out of mana right now. 4-step forward from Yule into the barrel strike onto Ace. He's going to be dropping here. Chottam in the back, ready for a grave if necessary. Hani waiting on the high ground, wants to go in with Loda. They're going to explode that Dazzle instantly.
They pick off one. Reaper Scythe down for 24 seconds, and Hani's actually doing a ton of work with that Blink Dagger.
Yeah. It's really nice to be able to just lasso, follow up the chain stun with Reaper Scythe, and just try to kill the hero flat out. The downside to it is they don't have any other heroes on their team that necessarily burst super hard. You're kind of praying for a multi, right?
Yeah.
Or like a good rocket barrage or something like that to get a really high amount of burst. And now with BKBs, that combo only really works if you get the surprise factor. Because BKB's popped, obviously your ulti damage is negated and then does nothing.
Also, Loda was 3,400 gold for his butterfly finish, but now he's the buyback and the fact that he's not really farming much. It's gonna take a while.
I mean, if you look at what Loda's got, it's just, it's not enough to actually sort of turn a fight compared to what's just arrived on Tide Hunter, refresher up on the Tide, so...
It feels like he needs 2 more items. Like, he needs to finish Butterfly, he needs a Satanic.
Yeah, it's really, really hard.
I feel as though Gyro is one of those heroes that has this really awkward stage in the game for about 10 to 15 minutes where he's fallen off in the early game magic damage department. Like Rocket Barrage and Call Down is still okay, but it's not great. And then you don't have enough damage items to make Flat Cannon really worth it yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like that's the thing that he's struggling with right now. And that's part of the reason why I think Gyrocopter has kind of not been played as much. Because in the early fighting, he's great. But the mid-game fights are typically what dictates who wins and loses nowadays, especially in 6.82, because the gold exchange and the experience exchange is so massive at this point in the game that you actually need a hero who has the impact on demand. And
like, say, a Chronosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, is why I think Void was nerfed and buffed.
Or the ability to do, like, split pushing and stuff, but this is big.
Nice Ravage. He's going to be 2 on 4 heroes right now. Already one that there's no buyback on Loda. Bought back for the last engagement. There was an ulti going to be used here on Sadoy. Tide Hunter down. It's a 4 versus 4 right now. Yo goes in for a Burrow Strike. Misses. BZZ going to be dropping here. Still has the Ankh going to be coming back in just a second.
He actually stacked those Ravages a little close together. I think there's about
Well, better safe than the BKBs going off.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst case scenario is BKB follow-up.
But did they get the racks?
Yep, they got 2.
Well, that's...
Well, they had the other one earlier,
yeah.
I believe.
So, you know how last game you're saying Sadoy Batrider was what made the DP work?
Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything away from him, but I feel like when you have Exorcism on your high ground forcing you to make a play, that's where Batrider becomes easier to play. Same thing here on Sand King. Like, when you see Loda trying to come in and defend, drop a call down, or maybe use a flat cannon, easy Burrow Strike. So I actually think it's, again, don't want to take things from Sadoy, it's DP pulling a lot of weight. Because
Batman going in here with all the multicasts as well, and that was easy kill.
Because you need the DP in the front line to make the enemy team commit.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from. It's like it's very easy to telegraph where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Like you know where your targets are and you know what you want to get and why you want to get them, and I agree with that. But at the same time, I'm fairly certain that in these types of games, if you're playing on LAN, right, so there's not really much of a ping discrepancy between the people in the game. It's just a matter of how fast you are.
Right.
Because if you go in and you get caught by a stun before you're able to force staff away, or a grave goes off on the hero that gets lassoed, even G just being able to reposition with his Aegis after getting graved, like if he dies under tier 4s, maybe his team leaves him there.
Sure.
You know? But stuff like that really matters. So even though it is quote-unquote easy to go for those high priority targets, at the same time, if you make even one simple mistake, your base defense is done. Like, that's it.
Yeah. And I think Loda not being able to activate BKB twice, really good initiation and then perfect chain stun.
Yeah.
So, is Butterfly into Divine the only way he could come back now?
Oh, it's definitely an
Do they
option.
have time?
Yeah, the thing is, if you want to do that, you have to go for Roshan. We can see the Roshan spawn timer. It's about 50 seconds away. This is going to be the make or break for Alliance. If they don't win this fight, if they don't get Roshan and transition the Gyro into a big damage item, I think the game is kind of in the bag. For
I think they needed the Roshan to respawn right then and there because it's so hard to push out 2 lanes at once to make that play.
Yeah, even if it did spawn there, though, their damage is really lacking. They actually need to win a fight in order to really do anything with it.
Yeah, if you're VP, you just kind of wait to see people teleport back. You wait for the mid and bottom to push in, and you could take Roche at your leisure.
The other thing is, since you have Wraith King on the side of VP, no one on your team is going to be low when you're Roshing. Whereas Alliance, sure, you got Death Pulse, but that's not a super good sustain for doing Roshan. So you're going to have some heroes who are going to be missing health, and you don't have any vision around the pit at all. You have one ward on the
and you're
high
looking
ground.
at Epi and Ravage.
Yeah.
And
It's
Weave
just,
on the pit.
it's way too hard to just walk into the pit and say, we need to kill Rosh.
Yeah.
You want to, but in reality, you have to fight first and then Roshan after, which is going to be extremely difficult in the open field against what VP currently has.
In the open field, I like that. That sounds like a tank battle.
Well, it is pretty much a tank battle, except with water and giant sea monsters.
Nice.
And ghosts. I mean, that sounds like a tank battle I would want to be in.
Roshan has fallen to the
All right, there's that Aegis. DP gets it again, and I guess the only thing that Loda could really do is just push out top, delay the push as much as you can, and he's got this Butterfly now, but that means no buyback. Although I don't think buyback will change the course of the game.
Not really. I think if he doesn't finish his damage item, if he dies, like it's just game, basically. Yeah, he knows that too. He despises Butterfly. He realizes the dire straits that he's in. Sorry, Ted.
It's time for VP to slam the door on Alliance's comeback here.
All right, here we go.
Still too soon? Nice.
No, it's okay.
Okay, there's a Yules.
Oh, actually BKB on time this time, but I mean, there's really no cost. Like, BZZ will gladly trade his BKB
Now they can
for
just
Lotus.
run in there. Yeah. It's like, great, double Ravage.
How do you buy time?
Who does Batman get? I think he's got to get tied, drag him away, just away, and let everybody else fight.
Oh,
I think it's too hard to keep him out of the
he
fight.
needs to get Jadam, I
that
think.
multi-cast.
That damage.
I think Jadam is probably the most high priority kill. Obviously, you want Yo, I think, but he's not gonna find Yo.
tower is under attack.
Well, you either get Yol or you get G and hope Exorcism is actually on.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
it still matters a lot.
But there's Grave too.
No, I know, but that's why I'm saying, like, even though it's Ace, or it's easy for Ace to find his targets, it's a matter of if VP are able to react to it fast enough. Because if you go for Yol, if you're able to get him in the first place, I would be really shocked. Because his positioning would have to be, like, very far forward.
Yep.
But then you have to still worry about Grave. And pretty much for anyone, you're going to have to worry about Graves and stuns. But here we go. Loda pops a BKB pretty early. BZZ eating quite a bit here. Still has his reincarnation up.
Oh, the Ravages.
The Ravage actually only going to hit on 2. Honey with a very nice BKB timing. He's going to throw out the Reaper Scythe. Not enough to kill Sadoy. And this looks to be the beginning of the end here for Alliance. GG getting pulled near the well, but not quite. As my nuts calls GG. And it looks like I was wrong again. My predictions are awful. I feel like
I'm super wrong.
I'm just cursing teams now when I predict that they're going to win.
I said 2-0 Alliance, so
Did you?
I couldn't have been wronger.
That is true. That is true. But I feel like VP bounced back pretty nicely after their first series against MVP, and I'm not entirely sure if that's just to say that MVP played